Hey everybody, I got an off-meta build for you that bring out the minions back in. It feels really good. It does not use corpse tendrils, blood mist, bone spear, or bone spirit. It is a very fun build to play, and on the left you're going to watch me clear a tier 34 nightmare dungeon at level 73 facing level 88 mobs, completely deathless. Took just a touch over 10 minutes to clear, and it would have been faster if I hadn't sat there at the shrine killing monsters so I could get the shrine buff. So let's hop into the gear first. We're going to do the skills second, and then finally the paragon after that. So you're going to want aspect that makes Blight do an AoE grip. This just kind of groups all the mobs together and allows all of your damage to flow and feel a lot better. You're going to want the aspect to increase your skeletal mages by 2. You're also going to want to be on the lookout for maximum minion life on any of your pieces of armor, because that's going to help keep them alive a lot longer. Howl from Below gloves really makes any corpse explosion build feel just so much better. So it'll spawn the little ghost dudes, and they'll run off to a random enemy and they'll blow up and they'll put the little puddle of miasma under them, and it just feels a lot better, especially whenever you have monsters like to break out of the pack that you just script in. It will spread the miasma in a larger area so that it's not just blowing up on itself like regular corpse explosion. You need disobedience on every build in this entire game. The 50% increased armor is huge, considering armor is the best stat in the entire game for defensive. Increase warriors by 2. We have the mages up here on the chest. We got the warriors down here on the boots. If you don't have the Hell from Below gloves, you can put the skeletal warriors onto your gloves, and you can get the boots that makes it so that your skeletal mages cast Blizzard every 10 seconds. A really nice quality of life to have that. I just had this random 800 item level wand drop in a Helltide earlier, and I threw on the base aspect from the Book of Codex. I had this piece on, which was 99% instead of the base 50%, but the damage increase I got from this just overall was worth it. And whenever I finally get a better piece, I'll throw that on here instead. So I'm just waiting for this aspect to actually drop again. Bone Storm is going to give you a barrier for 8% of your base life every time it hits an enemy. So this is your big defensive cooldown, is popping Bone Storm. It's going to basically make you virtually unkillable even while CC'd, which is why we're not taking Blood Mist. Shadow Blight key passive is going to increase its damage within the next 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So with the aspect that I have, it's going to be 150% damage continuously as it keeps going after the 5th stack until, it's been 10 seconds without you actually hitting a mob, because all of our damage is shadow damage, which means it's constantly putting up the Shadow Blight key passive. This key pass is going to make it so Bone Storm turns into shadow damage, which is going to synergize with all of our other aspects that we've just talked about literally in the last 30 seconds. So this is huge. Also, I went out and farmed this ring. If you want to know where this ring is, let me know in the comments down below, and I will make a quick video showing you exactly where to get this ring, where the mob is located, until he eventually drops it. I farmed him for about 40 minutes or so. He never dropped an ancestral for me. I got really bad luck. However, he did drop a max tier sacred that I figured it was worth it because it was 575 life. So that helped with my max life problems. Ancestral version is much, much higher than this, and I will go back and farm that eventually. And finally, 20% damage reduction as long as you have more than 7 minions. So your minions will survive quite a bit longer. And we have more than 7 minions. We have 12 total. We have 6 warriors and 5 mages and 1 big old chunky golem. So, into our book of skill real quick. Reapers, number 2, so they can create more corpses. This is what you're going to see on almost every single Necromancer build in existence is Reapers number 2, Gold Mages number 1, and Iron Golem number 2 for vulnerability. Let's hop into the skills. Up top, doesn't matter, pick whatever you want, just throw 2 points somewhere. You could literally do 1 point here and 1 point here, it doesn't matter. Just put 2 points up here so you can get down to the second tier. That's not going to be on your bar. Shadow Blight for Supernatural Shadow Blight. This is going to make you and your minions do 15% more damage. Hued Flesh so you can create more corpses so that you can blow them up. Skeletal Warrior Mastery, increase your Skeletal Warrior's life and damage by 45%. Grim Harvest so you can get essence, and Fueled by Death so you can do 9% more damage every time you pop a corpse. Corpse Explosion with Blighted Corpse Explosion so you can create the miasma puddles on the ground, blinding all of your friends in the closest 3-mile radius so they can't see anything else on the floor. Blizzard, please fix that skill. Decrepify, Enhanced and Abhorrent Decrepify. And this is going to make your cooldowns come up faster. Which means Bone Storm will come back quicker, and your Golem ability will also come back quicker to keep applying vulnerability to the mobs. 3 points in the Skeleton Mage Mastery so they don't die as fast and do a bit more damage. Down here, Reaper's Pursuit, Gloom, and Terror. You can take 1 point out of Reaper's Pursuit and put it into Crippling Darkness if you want for the proc chance. However, I watched another YouTube video specifically revolving around Crippling Darkness, and he did a whole bunch of tests for quite a long duration, and it barely ever procced. And and as far as I could tell, it wasn't worth it. I'd rather have the little bit of extra movement speed from doing any kind of damage, since all of our damage is shadow. Coming down here, going to grab your Golem Mastery, so your Golem is a big old chunky boy and doesn't die very often. Inspiring Leader, so that you're getting the increased attack speed as long as you're healthy, which is above 85% health, so it's really not too hard. Bonded in Essence and Death's Defense. So what you can do is you can actually take the 1 point out of Reaper's Pursuit and put it into Bonded in Essence so you can get a larger heal on your minions. I didn't even need it on the tier 34 dungeon. There was a couple times where some minions died and I just summoned them right back up. It wasn't that big of a deal, but this will give you a 50% heal on your minions because you get the base 10% heal plus the additional 40%. So you could do that, and I might actually just play around with that for a while and see how it feels, and if it feels better, I'll just keep it. Death's Defense, so your minions can't take more than half of their health in one hit. To be honest, with the increase in minion maximum life on a few of my pieces, they never took 50% of their life in a single hit anyways. And then we're going to grab Bone Storm. Bone Storm is huge damage, and with Supreme Bone Storm, it makes it so your critical strike chances increase by 20%. Now, dots cannot crit. However, Shadow Blight, which is our key passive we're going to take at the very end, can crit because Shadow Blight is just raw shadow damage. So Shadow Blight can crit, Bone Storm can crit, and the actual initial hit from Blight can all crit. So actually, whenever you see a dot damage build and I say don't take any crit at all, I was wrong. In one of my builds, I said that as well. I was wrong. Take the crit. It is huge. Whenever you have a pack of like 4 or 5 elites on you and all of them are just smacking on you, you pop Bone Storm, you get that crit, and you see their lives just start chunking down really, really fast. It's worth it. All right, Paragon boards. Everyone always wants to see the Paragon board, so here you go. Standard, just working our way up. I went up the right side instead of the left side. You can do whatever you choose. But first one I took is Territorial. So you see in the video, I like to stack the mobs on top of me. I don't like to play the range game. I like to drag the mobs on top of me and blow them up. That's just my personal playstyle. So if you don't like playing that playstyle, I would put Control here instead. So Control is going to make it so you and your minions deal what X%, it's going to go up as the level goes up. Increase damage to slowed or chilled enemies, or 20% to stunned or frozen. Now, Blight slows. Up here, Enhanced Blight slows. So you can just throw a Control in and be perfectly fine using Control. I use Territorial because I really like to have mobs stacked on top of me. But again, it's all personal preference and how you like to play the game. Second board is Wither because we're doing shadow damage, so we might as well put more and more shadow damage in. We took this for the 4% max life. You don't have to do this if you're not hurting on life. I took it because it was literally just one Paragon for 4% life. It's essentially a free red gem in your armor. That's all it was. Also gives you a bit more healing if you really care about that from your potion. I don't really generally use potions too often, so it's not a big deal. 8% damage reduction from anyone affected by shadow damage. So this is going to make you constantly take 8% less damage, which is huge because everything you're touching is getting hit with shadow damage. Over here, it's 20% additional damage to enemies afflicted by shadow damage and 16% damage to elite. So you're going to be chunking down those packs a lot faster. This is just more shadow damage over time, plus raw shadow damage, which will increase your shadow blight and direct blight damage as well as your bone storm damage since it's now doing shadow. We grab this one for more shadow damage again, and then I put in the Scourge glyph here so that me and my minions are doing a bunch more shadow damage over time. For your third board, you're going to go for Flesh Eater. Every time you consume 5 corpses, you get 40% increased damage for 6 seconds. This build literally generates and consumes corpses as fast as your little fingers can click. I also grabbed the note over here for 25% increased damage to injured enemies and the 15% critical strike damage. Remember, Bone Storm, Shadow Blight, and Blight itself can crit. Not the dot from Blight, but the initial impact hit. So all of those make it so whenever you have the elites on you, they take a lot more damage and they die a lot faster. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this off-meta build. I had so much fun playing it, and I'm going to continue playing it probably for the foreseeable future because I liked having my minions back. So until then, happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.